Have you ever wondered if the wild assertions of a mid-20th century mystic could hold water in today's labs? Neville Goddard, that Barbados-born visionary who saw the Bible as a psychological blueprint rather than divine dictation, claimed our inner world dictates the outer. I first stumbled upon his lectures in a dusty bookstore, feeling a quiet jolt, like rediscovering a forgotten melody that suddenly explains the rhythm of life. His ideas, blending scripture with sheer audacity, suggest we don't just perceive reality, we forge it through focused imagination and unyielding assumption. Fast forward to now, and fragments of his philosophy echo in neuroscience findings and quantum puzzles, turning what once seemed esoteric into something intriguingly plausible. Science doesn't stamp proven on spiritual claims lightly, but parallels emerge when you sift through the data. Goddard's core tenets, imagination as creator, assumption as law, all possibilities pre-existing, find unexpected allies in brain scans, particle experiments, and psychological trials. This isn't about blind faith, it's about spotting where intuition met evidence long before the tools caught up. Yet, as we'll see, these connections raise questions about consciousness itself, questions that might redefine how you view your own mind's power. The power of imagination, rewiring the brain's blueprint. Goddard insisted that imagining a scene with emotional intensity imprints it as real, eventually pulling it into existence. Picture this. You're not wishing, you're inhabiting the end result, senses alive, doubts silenced. Modern neuroscience backs this with neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape itself through experience, real or imagined. Studies show that vivid visualization activates the same neural circuits as actual events, strengthening connections via repeated firing. For instance, athletes mentally rehearsing routines build muscle memory without moving a limb, as Cornell research highlights. This isn't magic. It's the brain treating mental rehearsals as rehearsals for reality, forging pathways that influence behavior and perception. But delve deeper, and you encounter something Goddard might have grinned at. The brain's default mode network quiets during these states, allowing freer associations akin to those in meditation or even psychedelic experiences. I recall experimenting with this myself, visualizing a career shift during quiet evenings. Months later, opportunities aligned in ways that felt orchestrated. Psychology draws from William James here, who viewed imagination as the mind's workshop for testing futures without risk. But if imagination rewires us so profoundly, what happens when we apply it to assumptions that defy current facts? The law of assumption, when belief becomes biology. Assumption, for Goddard, wasn't casual hope, it was embodying a truth until it materialized. Persist in the feeling, he urged, and the world conforms. Here comes the placebo effect, a scientific darling since the 1970s, where belief alone triggers physiological changes. Patients expecting relief from inert pills release endorphins, reducing pain as effectively as drugs in some cases. This mirrors Goddard's law. Assume healing, and the body responds. A 2015 review noted how expectations alter brain pathways, dialing down amygdala activity to ease anxiety. It's not deception, it's the mind instructing biology. Philosophically, this nods to Spinoza's monism, where mind and body are facets of one substance. Change one, the other shifts. In literature, think of Dostoevsky's characters in Crime and Punishment, tormented by assumptions that warp their realities. I felt this in small ways. Assuming a meeting would go smoothly often made it so, perhaps by subtly guiding my actions. But assumptions tie into deeper quantum riddles, where observation itself might select outcomes from a sea of potentials. Creation is finished. Quantum superposition and infinite states. Goddard proclaimed, creation is finished, All possibilities exist now, and we merely select states through awareness. No new creation, just occupation of what's already there. Quantum mechanics offers a tantalizing echo in superposition, where particles hover in multiple states until measured, collapsing into one. Multiverse theories, like Everett's many worlds interpretation, posit branching realities for every possibility, an infinite array we choose via paths taken. Feynman's sum over histories approach similarly suggests particles explore all paths, implying a pre-laid cosmic script. This resonates with Eastern philosophy's Advaita Vedanta, where the universe is a singular illusion of multiplicity. In art, Borges' Garden of Forking Paths captures this labyrinth of coexisting timelines. Personally, embracing this freed me from scarcity thinking. If all states exist, why not gravitate toward abundance? Yet if realities branch endlessly, how does revising the past fit in, altering what we thought was set? Revising the past, neuroscience's take on memory, malleability. Goddard taught revision. Reimagine a regrettable event positively, and its grip loosens, reshaping present and future. Neuroscience's memory reconsolidation, solidified in the 2000s, explains why. Recalling a memory makes it labile, open to edits before restabilizing. Inject a new emotional narrative, and neural links weaken unwanted ties while bolstering fresh ones, as seen in PTSD therapies. It's not erasing history, it's updating its emotional code, echoing Proust's involuntary memories in Search of Lost Time, where scents revive and revise the past's flavor. Psychologically, this aligns with cognitive behavioral techniques, reframing traumas. I tried it once with a painful argument, revising it nightly to empathy. Oddly, resentment faded and relations mended. But timing matters. Goddard's drowsy state technique hints at optimal windows for such imprints. The state, akin to sleep, hypnagogia's subconscious gateway. Enter a relaxed pre-sleep haze, Goddard advised, to plant desires deeply as the subconscious yields then. Brainwave studies validate. The hypnagogic state mixes alpha and theta waves, quieting conscious filters for enhanced plasticity and imprinting. EEG data shows this twilight boosts creativity, with ideas flowing freer, much like meditation's alpha dominance. Up to 80% experience hypnagogic imagery, often vivid and associative. In psychology, this parallels Jung's active imagination, dialoguing with the unconscious. Artists like Dali napped for hypnagogic sparks. I've used it for problem solving. Drifting off with a question often yields dawn insights for a song, story, or even day-to-day tasks. However, if this state taps subconscious power, what broader implications for consciousness in quantum realms? Consciousness and the observer, quantum ties to Goddard's vision. Goddard's I am awareness as God echoes quantum debates. Does consciousness collapse wave functions, shaping reality? The observer effect suggests measurement alters outcomes, not just detects them. Particles decide states upon observation. Some theories, like cubism, tie this to subjective beliefs. Philosopher Berkeley's idealism, esse est percipi, to be is to be perceived, finds modern kin here. In film, The Matrix toys with simulated realities bent by will. Experiencing synchronicities after Goddard practices, I pondered. Are we co-authors in a participatory universe? But science cautions. Misconceptions abound, like equating observer with human consciousness alone. Bridging mysticism and evidence, a personal reflection. Goddard's teachings, once fringe, now converse with science's frontiers. If you were to ask me if it is a supernatural matter or just some scientific mechanism that we need to discover that links our minds and the whole universe, I wouldn't know what to tell you. Since Goddard didn't give a precise definition or explanation why some of these methods work, and science doesn't have a complete and unified theory, it is hard to know what works and what is coincidental, if we admit that some coincidences do exist. Was Goddard right? Here's what we do know. Neuroplasticity validates imagination's might. Placebos affirm assumptions' sway. Quantum multiverses suggest finished creation. Reconsolidation enables past revision. Hypnagogia opens subconscious doors. These aren't proofs but bridges inviting us to test personally. Drawing from Camus's absurdism, perhaps embracing this power defies life's chaos. In therapy, it empowers resilience. I've woven these into daily life, finding subtle shifts, less coincidence, more coherence. The open parenthesis from earlier. Consciousness isn't just observer, it's the architect, closing loops we initiate, but questions linger. If we shape reality, why the suffering? Goddard's answer, unexamined assumptions, spurs introspection. Science evolves. Perhaps tomorrow's discoveries will close more loops.